Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you with another book haul. Last video, I told you about all of the books I've picked up in the last week and a half. Some of them I kind of had planned on, and a whole lot of them I did not. I had people send me books in the mail. I had made a couple stops at some bookstores. I even met up with a fellow booktuber while I was in Denver. And that's what this video is all about. I got the awesome opportunity to meet up with Peg at the History Shelf. And I cannot tell you how much fun that was. You know, I was on my way to Colorado. My wife and I were driving, or actually she was driving. I drove the first half, and she had just gotten behind the wheel, and I was on I got on the Voxer, and I said, hey, you know, I just, we've been buddy reading a book together, and I said, hey, I just finished up this book. I don't know, you know, exactly where you're at, but got it finished, and guess what? I am in Denver. And so I just kind of threw that out there, and then she asked me, hey, you want to meet up at a bookstore? And so we did. We met up at Second and Charles. Now, I have heard a whole lot about Second and Charles from various booktubers. I know the Bookish Bryants, they absolutely love Second and Charles, and I had just never been to one. And so Peg and I made a decision. We were going to meet at Second and Charles. So my wife and my 4-year-old, we went to the store, and she got there, and we had a grand old time. I'm telling you what, Peg is a wonderful lady. As you know, if you ever watch her channel, and if you don't, you need to. If you don't, then you're missing out. She is just a wonderful lady. Her channel just shows you how well read she is. She is a history nut. She's read so much more than me. I mean, it was just fun listening to her talk about books. Hey, have you read this? Have you read this? And you know, I could sit and talk to her for hours and learn just an absolute ton. And I'm hoping that maybe next time that I go to Denver, and you know, we've said that we would like to, you know, meet up again. Maybe I can meet Martine. Martine had to work. So Martine, I'm looking forward to meeting you. My wife is looking forward to meeting you. And so the next time we come, you better be ready. Put it to the side and come visit with us. So anyway, we went to Second and Charles, and I got to pick Peg's brain and ask her about, you know, just history stuff. And of course we both have a love for the Civil War, so we talked a little bit about that. And she is just a neat, genuine person. She, you know, who you see on the channel is who you get. That to me is maybe the best part. Is she definitely is not fake. She's the real deal. And I think we talked for maybe 3 hours there at the bookstore. Maybe I'm wrong on the time. Maybe it wasn't quite that long, but it had to be close to that. And it was just nonstop, and I could have kept talking to her. She was like a best friend. So anyway, you're probably sick of me, you know, bragging on her. But she's worth bragging on. So if you don't follow her channel, you need to go check out her channel and follow it. I'll put the link to her channel down in the description below. Go check her out, give her a sub. And anyway, so without further ado, let's look at the stack of books that I bought. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I bought this many books. I did not intend to buy this, but the more that we talked, the more that I was like, yeah, that'd be good to get. And I, you know, I was kind of browsing the shelf as she was talking, and oh yes. And before I know it, I had a basket full. And so let's look at these. I'm going to start with the Lincoln books. Now, if you follow the channel, you know I love Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, 16th President of the United States, President during the Civil War, the greatest president of all time. Let's just face it. Yeah, the best. And for many reasons. But anyway, I had been looking for some Lincoln books, and I had been struggling to find some that weren't like brand new at the brand new price. I've been struggling to find some that I didn't already have that, you know, were used and something I'd want to have in my collection. But at Second and Charles, they hooked me up. So let's look at some of these books on Lincoln that I was able to find. By the way, in case you didn't know, I have a ton of Lincoln books, and I am well over the 100 Lincoln books mark now. This, and I might have already been bumped over it because I haven't been doing a very good job of updating my book list, but this I know pushed me over for sure. So anyway, I found this really small volume on Abraham Lincoln. It was written by George McGovern, and this comes from the American Presidents series. It is edited by Arthur Schlesinger Jr. and Sean Willents. They are the editors of this series. I have another book in this series by H.W. Brands on Woodrow Wilson. So these books are very compact. Like this is with the index and the it is like 184 pages, so they're really small, but I think what I'm going to try to do is pick these up for my classroom because they're not intimidating in size. The kids might pick these up and read them, and they're done by really good authors. So anyway, first one, and this was, I guess I need to tell you a date on it. It's from Time Books, Henry Holt and Company out of New York, and this one was done in 2009. So the next one in the series, some of you have been telling me as I do my videos, especially the ones on Civil War books, that I need to pick up the Library of America series. Now, I listened to you, and I started picking up the Library of America series on the Civil War. It's a 4-book series, and I've got the first 2 volumes. I'm just looking for the second 2 at a cheaper price. I'm being a cheapskate. But several of you said, "Oh, you got those? Well, do you have the Lincoln?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know why not." But I got to looking at the Lincoln prices online, and the Lincoln prices were they were a little higher than I wanted to pay too. But while at Second and Charles, thank you for Second and Charles, guess what I found? I found not only the paperback, but I also found the hardback. And I went ahead and went with the paperback because it was a little cheaper, trying to compromise with my wife. So this is Abraham Lincoln's Selected Speeches and Writings, and it has an introduction by Gore Vidal. And let me show you the covers. Get this going. Maybe. Sorry, I'm getting another video going at the same time. It's downloading. So anyway, this Library of America book, paperback, all of these were really good price. This one's $19.92, and 2009, second printing, 2009. But this thing's like in brand new condition. It is awesome. And so that'll be a really good one to put on the shelf right up here by the Civil War Library of America. Now, a couple of these I'm going to show you. You're going to see some nicks and bends on the covers. They were not at Second and Charles that way. That happened, that was a mishap in the trunk of my car. I had them all stacked. I thought maybe they would stay, and I must have taken a corner too fast, and they all spilled over in the trunk, and some of the corners got a little dinged. So they are not in quite as good a shape as they were when I was at the store. So anyway, this is Lincoln Reconsidered by David Donald. It's Essays on the Civil War Era. And so it's kind of a neat cover, kind of retro. And this is from Vintage Books out of New York, and it is a 1961 book. It's exactly, what the title says, Essays on the Civil War Era by David Donald. David Donald is just a renowned Lincoln scholar. He's just done some excellent work. He's won the Pulitzer, I think twice, once for his one on Lincoln and once for his one on I'm going blank. That's embarrassing. Charles Sumner. Whew, went blank. And for his one on Charles Sumner. And like I said, I think he won the Pulitzer for his one on Lincoln also. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, regardless, great author, great stuff there. This book, I saw this, and this is one of those that I was questioning, do I have this one already? It's by T. Harry Williams. It's Lincoln and His Generals. Pretty cool cover. And this, I don't know, it was like $1.25, maybe $1.50. It was super cheap. And so, I was willing to take a chance. If I did have it, it wasn't that big a deal just because it was just so cheap. And so this is from Vintage Books out of New York. It's a 1952 book. I got home. I went to record it in my list of books. Yeah, I've already got 2 copies. So, yeah, my bad. But anyway, still a good buy. Here is a book by Michael W. Kaufman. It's American Brutus, John Wilkes Booth, and the Lincoln Conspiracies. I thought that was pretty awesome. This was, it's got its little mark on there. Other than that, it's a brand new book. It is from Random House out of New York, and it is a 2004 book. And I have looked forward to reading this ever since I saw it. It's been something that's really been of interest to me. And so let me read the back cover to you. In American Brutus, Michael W. Kaufman, one of the foremost Lincoln assassination authorities, takes us deeper into the story. We all think we know, offering an unprecedented account of the Lincoln murder conspiracy. Working from a staggering array of archival sources and new research, Kaufman sheds new light on the background and motives of John Wilkes Booth, the mechanics of his plot to topple the Union government, and the trials and fates of the conspirators. Piece by piece, Kaufman explains and corrects common misconceptions, or misperceptions, and analyzes the political motivation behind Booth's plan to unseat Lincoln, in whom the assassin saw a treacherous autocrat. Thanks to Kaufman's discoveries, readers will have a new understanding of this defining event in our nation's history, and they will come to see how public sentiment about Booth at the time of the assassination and ever since has made an accurate account of his actions and motives next to impossible until now. And so, I'm always looking for books on Lincoln or the assassination. I think it's an interesting topic. I don't know how many new things that this author can bring out, but I'm going to find out. So, sounded pretty interesting, so I picked it up. All right. This next one is Abraham Lincoln, Slavery and the Civil War, Selected Writings and Speeches. It was edited by Michael P. Johnson. So this is kind of like a textbook for students with different, like it says, speeches and stuff on the Civil War era. This is from Bedford St. Martin's out of Boston and New York, and it is a 2011 text. And so, like I said, it's got bits and pieces of speeches and stuff. I'm probably pretty familiar with most of this. I don't know how much new stuff it'll be. It is definitely a book I don't have yet. So we'll see how much new stuff I get out of that. And the last Lincoln book that I got is Lincoln, A Life of Purpose and Power by Richard Carradine. And I hope that's how you say his last name. I meant to look that up and totally forgot. But I always see this book on in the sources of other books. I always see his name, and I've never had any books by him, so I was pretty pleased to see this. This was another compromise. I had found it in hardback for a couple bucks more, and I went with the paperback just to make it a little cheaper. Probably should have just went ahead and went with the hardback, but oh well. Again, I don't know if you can see it, but there. You can see the cover got dinged up in my trunk. That wasn't originally like that. Anyway, I'll read the back cover to you. It says, as a defender of national unity, a leader in war and the emancipator of slaves, Abraham Lincoln lays ample claim to being the greatest of our presidents. But the story of his rise to greatness is as complex as it is compelling. In this superb, prize-winning biography, acclaimed historian Richard Carradine examines Lincoln's dramatic political journey from his early years in the Illinois legislature to his nation-shaping years in the White House. Here, Carradine combines a new perspective with a compelling narrative to deliver a fresh look at one of the pillars of American politics. He probes the sources of Lincoln's moral and political philosophy and uses his groundbreaking research to cut through the myth and expose the man behind it. So anyway, those were the books I got on Lincoln. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books on Lincoln. I know Peg was probably staring at me, putting those into my basket, probably like, how many books does he need on Lincoln? And don't worry, Peg, you would sound a lot like my wife. But that's all right. There's nothing wrong with getting the books on the subject that you love the most. And definitely Lincoln is that subject. So now let's take a look at the stack that I got for the rest of the book haul. So I was pretty pleased with it. Now, most of this is nonfiction, but there is a couple of fiction books. So this first one that I've got is We Have the War Upon Us, the onset of the Civil War, November 1860 to April of 1861 by William J. Cooper. Now, this book, I am guessing, I haven't read into it yet, but I'm guessing it's exactly like it sounds. It's that the few months there, was that 5-6 months there right before the war started, and the war is here, and this is what got it started and all that good stuff. So really looking forward to this. It's one of my favorite topics to study. Lincoln is my favorite individual to study, but my favorite time period is that time period right before the Civil War and that build up to the Civil War from 1848 to 1861, that time period right there, that antebellum period. Definitely my favorite to study, and this book falls right in with that. So I'm real excited about that. The next book that I've got here, this was actually, I bought this for a colleague, actually. I'm going to give it to him in a few days. But this is Reporting Vietnam. American Journalism from 1959 to 1975. Has an introduction by Ward Just and a foreword by Milton J. Bates. This is the Library of America series again. And again, it's just journalism from the Vietnam War, and he teaches, my colleague teaches the Vietnam War, so I thought he'd like that. So that'll be fun to give to him. And it actually had some pretty cool stuff. Look at this. It says, "Happy reading, Mommy. Love, Monica." And look at that bookmark. Also had a nice little sticker, Spider-Man, my other favorite comic book character. So that was some pretty neat stuff to find in a book. I don't always find stuff in books like everybody else, so that was kind of neat. The next one that I found, if you've been following the channel, watching the videos, I've been picking up Jeff Shahara's books. I got all 3 of them on World War II. I've got one on the American Revolution, and I've got a couple of them on the Civil War. This is another Civil War novel, The Fateful Lightning. Show that to you. And this, it's in just awesome shape, phenomenal shape. It's from Ballantine Books out of New York, and it is a 2015 book. Like I said, brand new shape. The only thing was there was a little nick, and I probably should have went back to the shelf to see, because I think there was a couple of these on there. I could have gotten one without that nick, but that's okay. A little bit of tape and that, I can fix that. It had a little remainder mark on there. But anyway, let's read the back cover to you so you know what it's about. It says, November of 1864. As the Civil War rolls into its 4th bloody year, the tide has turned in favor of the Union. A grateful Abraham Lincoln responds to Ulysses S. Grant's successes by promoting Grant to command the entire Union war effort, while William Tecumseh Sherman directs the federal forces that occupy all of Tennessee. In a surge southward, Sherman conquers the city of Atlanta. His legendary march to the sea shoves away any rebel presence, and by Christmas of 1864, the city of Savannah falls into the hands of Uncle Billy. Now there is but one direction for Sherman to go. In his way stands the last great hope for the Southern cause, General Joseph E. Johnston. In the concluding novel of his epic Civil War tetralogy, Jeff Shahara tells the dramatic story of the final 8 months of battle from multiple perspectives, the commanders in their tents, as well as the ordinary foot soldiers and cavalrymen who carried out their orders. The fateful lightning brings to life those final, brutal, bloody months of fighting with "You Are There" immediacy, grounded in the meticulous research that readers have come to expect from Jeff Shahara. So what I've heard is his books, each one has gotten better and better. He's become a better and better writer. So I'm real excited to pick these up and not only enjoy some historical fiction, but also go along the journey of a writer and how he gets better. That's going to be fun to see. All right, next book I picked up, and again, got a little bit dinged on the cover. That was from my trunk, not from Second and Charles. But this is Book Notes, Stories from American History, Leading Historians on the Events That Shaped Our Country by Brian Lamb. Thought that sounded pretty interesting. Sounds like a bunch of different essays. And the cover's kind of unique too. This is from Penguin Books. It is out of New York, and it is a 2002 book, 2002. And inside the cover it says, American history is shaped by great and small events, and in recent years a generation of writers has brought these events to life. They have shared these stories with the viewers of the long-running C-SPAN author interview program Book Notes, and some of the best have been collected here for readers to savor. In this volume, more than 80 contemporary writers and historians examine seminal moments from American history, both celebrated and obscure, from the drafting of the Declaration of Independence to the publishing of the Pentagon Papers, from the Boston Tea Party to the Scopes monkey trial, and from the battlefields of the Civil War to the raising of the American flag over Iwo Jima, to the release of America's POWs from Vietnam. New chapters from the 2000 presidential election and September 11th, as well as an updated introduction, bring the story of our country up to the current moment. For anyone interested in America's rich history, this is an engaging compendium of information, opinions, and new perspectives. So that sounds like it's going to be good. Some of the authors, let's see if we got, Pauline Meyer, Jack Rakove, Annette Gordon-Reed, Roger Kennedy, trying to just find some that I'm pretty familiar with. Stephen B. Oates, James McPherson, Brooks D. Simpson, Douglas Wilson, Alan Gelzo, William J. Cooper, who I just got a book on, just all kinds, H.W. Brands, A. Scott Berg, David Kennedy, Tom Brokaw, James Bradley, Gene Edward Smith. This is just going to be a delight. Donald Kagan. See, and I'm kind of going fast here, just trying to pick out names that I recognize pretty quickly. Let's see, any others? Bob Woodward. So anyway, you kind of get the idea. There's just a lot of big names, and just reviewing American history through these short stories. So can't wait for that. All right, 3 books to go. This next one is a BookTube inspired book. I saw people talking about this a while back. It was The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. And I read The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, so I thought I'd give this book a try. It's pretty short. It comes from Dover Publishing out of New York. This is a 1996 printing, and very short book. It's going to be 104 pages in this edition, which is what Dover does. They make short, it's usually small font, maybe not so eye-friendly, but it's cost-friendly. So they sell this for only $3. I got it for $1. So I'm looking forward to reading that classic. Here's another one I'm real excited about. One of my favorite authors is Doris Kearns Goodwin. She's a great, great biographer. I've read a couple, 3 books by her and loved every one of them. The one on Lincoln and his cabinet is by far my most favorite. It's one of my favorite Lincoln books. And so when I saw this, I got real excited. It says, wait till next year. This is, I believe, her memoir, but it's got baseball in the background of the whole story. And, you know, I love baseball. So let me read the back cover of this one to you. It says, set in the suburbs of New York in the 1950s, Wait Till Next Year is Doris Kearns Goodwin's touching memoir of growing up in love with her family and baseball. She recreates the post-war era when the corner store was a place to share stories and neighborhoods where neighborhoods were equally divided between Dodger, Giant, and Yankee fans. We meet the people who most influenced Goodwin's early life, her mother, who taught her the joy of books, but whose debilitating illness left her housebound, her father, who taught her the joy of baseball and to root for the Dodgers of Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, Pee Wee Reese, Duke Snider, and Gil Hodges. Most important, Goodwin describes with eloquence how the Dodgers leaving Brooklyn in 1957 and the death of her mother soon after marked both the end of an era and, for her, the end of a childhood. This, of all of the non-Lincoln books, this very well could be my favorite in this bunch. I am really looking forward to reading this one. This one I'm probably going to dive into pretty quickly. And the story itself is not super long. I should be able to get this done before school starts. Only 257 pages with the epilogue. So I'm real excited to find that. And then the last book in this book haul, sorry about the video going pretty long, but this is Willard Stern Randall's Thomas Jefferson, A Life. Now, earlier in the year, I read his biography on Alexander Hamilton, and I liked it. I saw this on his book list, and I was like, gotta have it. And so when I saw this, even though it's a little beat up, and this wasn't just my trunk. This was like this when I picked it up off of the shelves. Even though it's a little bit beat up, I was definitely willing to pay I think I paid $4 or $5 for it. It wasn't any huge price. This is Harper and Perennial, and it is a 1994 printing, originally published in '93. But anyway, real excited to have this. It's a pretty good sized book. It's 100 or more than 100. Why did I say that? 707 pages, right? Nope, I lied. 708 pages with the index. So it's got lots of notes, pretty good size index, quite a bit of text to it. It's got almost 600 pages of text. So that's going to be a little bit of a endeavor because it's small font and everything. But I really liked Randall's writing in the Alexander Hamilton book. So I'm really hoping I really like this. The back of this one says, although books on Thomas Jefferson could fill a small library, there has long been a need for an authoritative single-volume biography. This riveting portrait is the brilliant fulfillment of that wish. Drawing on first-hand scholarship as well as ongoing literary detective work on the Jefferson papers, biographer Willard Stern Randall calls on his skills as an investigative journalist to unearth new material and to challenge long-held assumptions about the reasoning motives in the works of this sage, philosopher, politician, and romantic. Revealing both Jefferson's inner and outer struggles, Randall sheds new light on Jefferson's thoughts on slavery and his alleged relationships with slave Sally Hemings, as well as revolutionary diplomatic intrigues. And of course, it's always fun to read history because that last line where it says his alleged relations with slave Sally Hemings, those have since been proven very, very true through DNA evidence. So I have not read this, so it'll be interesting what he says on that, knowing now that that was definitely fact, that actually did happen, that there's no doubt about that anymore. So it'd be interesting to see what he says about that. But yeah, BookTube, this is the second book haul from the Colorado trip. I have yet another book haul to come later, or in the next few days, and this was actually a book haul from my fellow booktuber, Peg at the History Shelf. She sent these books, this big stack of books over here. She was going to send them to me through the mail, but since we were able to meet up at the store, she went, got them out of the trunk and handed them to me, or out of the back of her car and handed them to me, and I was very happy to pick these up. That'll be another book haul for another time, though. So I hope you like this. I hope you like the books I was able to pick up at 2nd and Charles. If you ever get to go to 2nd and Charles, give it a try. It is a wonderful, wonderful store. And if you ever get a chance to meet up with a fellow booktuber, take advantage of it, because that was one of the best things about going to Colorado, was meeting Peg at the History Shelf. What a wonderful woman. What a great historian in her own right. Great book reviewer. Just a great person all around. Talking to her, I found that me and her, our thoughts on things, our personalities, we meshed well. And I told my wife, that we have basically the same opinion on almost everything, at least so far, of what I've been able to talk to her about, and it's amazing. And I can't think of another person on BookTube that I would be better friends with than Peg at the History Shelf. So thank you, Peg. Thank you so very, very much for willing to meet up with me and going shopping with me at 2nd and Charles. We're going to have to, next time I'm out there, we'll have to get together again and buy some more books. Why not, right? So anyway, BookTube, I hope you enjoyed this. And until next time, happy reading.